Last time, I showcased a very powerful Dark Souls 3 build that completely trivialized the main game. Now, in the DLC, not surprisingly, it worked just as well, and in fact, even better most of the time. Just to recap, this is a build that can utilize all of the spells in the game because of the high intelligence and faith skill, expect all of the top tier equipment, sorceries, incantations, and most importantly, Solaire Stray Sword. The next segments of the video, just like the previous one, will be a sort of documentary of my experience while using this build on UGame Plus. As usual, if you are more interested in my overall thoughts about this build, or if you're only interested in certain boss fight, feel free to use the timestamp and jeopardize the analytics for this video. Without further ado, let's start with the painted world of Ariandel. Good old overpriced DLC. Let's start from the path to the legendary 3-phase boss fight. This path is terrifying. In case you didn't know, resided in this path is the Corvian Knight. This enemy is supposed to be placed in Sekiro. They are way too quick for this game. According to the lore, the Knights are basically simps of Sister Fried. They wanted those feet picks to the point where they would slaughter their own species and prevent the painted world to get burned, even though it was completely rotted. I know that the Knights wouldn't notice me because I used the hidden body spell, but it was still a pretty little nerve-wracking. It was very tense. These enemies are broken enough in the base game. I don't want to know what they're capable of on UGame Plus. Follow the path, ignore the Corvian Knight's crime, take the side path, dodge the Corvian that has had enough, don't ever enter this building, unlock the shortcut, and get greeted by another simp. I haven't done the Wilhelm Chase in quite a while. Basically, near the entrance, bait his swipe attack and then try to push him with a shield until he fell off the cliff. Thank you, Dark Souls. Now that I think of it, I don't even need to do the cheat. I literally have 60 intelligence and faith. I can bully his ass. I think my muscle memory from my previous playthroughs kinda kicked in and made me use the shield strategy. I usually enter this DLC under leveled, which is why I use the cheat.
Forgive me, my lady.
You damn simp, she does not care. The next section is the Snow Maze area. This is one of the few areas where From Software implements some scripted ambushes. These wolves for an example, so no matter how stealthy you are, as long as you are within the scripted parameter, the ambush would always occur even if the enemy didn't detect you. There are plenty of these ambushes in Elden Ring and I think it's really lame. At the end of the Snow Maze, you'd get access to the Sister Fried boss fight, summon the final boss and head straight to Fried. Sister Fried is weak to lightning and pro to backstab? Miyazaki?
I know what kind of man you are.
For the first phase of the fight, just wait for the moment that she turned invincible, Tracer's Path, and backstab her, and also spam some R1s afterwards. You can also backstab her when she did the jumping attack, but it's pretty hard to do it. The second phase is a little tricky. You basically need to damage Ariandel while also keep an eye out for Fried. Ariandel deals a lot of damage, but his moveset is pretty easy to learn. Fried is the annoying part of the second phase. You have to pay attention to her or else she might attack you out of nowhere with the ice trails or sometime heal Ariandel. Thankfully, Gale is available for this fight and hopefully he can distract her long enough. While waiting for the final phase, use your time to buff yourself. The first thing that Fried would do is unleash her Black Flame anime attack. Gale said nah to that. Anyway, just dodge into the flame and backstab her again. Basically the same strategy as the first phase. Gale was actually ruining the flow of the fight, but I'm not complaining because it allowed me to use the Sunlight Spear without her dodging it. Another variation of the jump attack is this ice version. Just do the same thing as the Black Flame variation. After cashing in that Sister Freeze blood money, I went straight to the Ring City DLC. Unfortunately, the first section of the DLC is the Dreg Heap. This place is notorious for having the most annoying enemy in the game that was placed on a poison swamp. In case you didn't know, the Dreg Heap is actually a homage to the previous Dark Souls games, in particular Dark Souls 2, which is why it is terrible. The annoying enemy that I talked about is the angels that would fire some projectiles and poison you if you stand for too long. Thankfully, the stealth bundle works here. This leaves the Earthen Peak Ruins poison swamp as the threat. Thankfully, once again, there is actually a shortcut that can let us skip the entire Dark Souls 2 section. To do this shortcut, near the bonfire at the Earthen Peak Ruins, use the hidden body spell, follow this path next to the ruined shack, jump down here, reapply the hidden body spell again just in case, prepare a greatsword or any weapon that will do a vertical slam if you do a plunge attack, and finally, jump next to the shack. Slaughter that angel as a reward. Next up is the Demon Princess. Wait a minute, why am I fighting honorably? I'm a coward. Before getting down there, summon the final boss again, use the Dories knowing I don't know how to spell it, because the Demon Princess are very weak to bleed. You can also use the Dark Blade on this fight, but the bleed spell is way better. This is a very long fight, make sure you have plenty of acid splash for the second phase. Because I killed the demon from below last, the second phase will start with the laser version of the demon. Continue spamming the spell until the fight ends. Alright, it's time for the Ring City. Oh yeah, I forgot about the archers. As usual, use the stealth bundle to exploit the game. Just kidding, it didn't work. The reason why the stealth bundle didn't work here was because the archers are actually the ruined sentinels from this broken ass game called Dark Souls 2, which explains why they can't comprehend this mechanic. Another thing I wanted to test on whether stealth works or not is the Midir fire section. Yep, it didn't work. Oh god, I forgot to health patches. After unlocking the elevator, I jumped down to the secret path to fight Edgelord Placidusax. Oh wait, wrong game. Midir is an interesting fight. This is a fight that can be telegraphed in two different ways. The first way is to target his head throughout the fight. This is obviously really difficult because you need to learn Midir's moveset, which is pretty difficult to master. But if you kept doing it, the game will reward you with a free critical attack at the end of the fight. The second way is to use a spell called the Pestilent Mercury. This would make the fight a lot less risky, with the drawback being that the fight would be a lot slower and, personally, not as fun. I actually brought the Pestilent Mercury to the fight with the intention of using it when Midir used the laser attack, but luckily, it didn't happen. Next up is Half-Light. Make sure you play offline for this fight or else it will be a lot more annoying. This fight is actually very simple. You basically need to attack Half-Light when both of his hands use the katana or when he wields his bow. Don't even bother to attack when he uses shield because he can perfectly parry you. Whenever the painter gets summoned, just kill it as fast as you can because it can heal Half-Light. Oh come on, just let me fight Gale, man. Okay, finally. Gale is pretty much strong against any elemental status effects, especially dark damage, so any spell buff with the exception of it should be fine. Early on in the fight, try to poison him. This is because the amount of health that the New Game Plus version of Gale had in the DLC is ginormous. Thankfully, Gale's moveset is actually not that difficult to telegraph. The moveset consists of long combos that shouldn't be interrupted like what I'm doing right now. If you have a colossal weapon, you might be able to pull it off, but a straight sword is definitely not capable of interrupting Gale, especially on New Game Plus. During the fight, I constantly buffed my sword because the amount of damage that it dealt is too small. Doing this stupid thing got me into Gale's grab attack, and yes, I have no idea that Gale can do a grab attack. In the second phase, I should have poisoned him again early on, but I forgot to do that. During this phase, Gale used his Cape Soul thingy that follows all of his attacks. This is basically the game telling you that you have to dodge towards Gale. This was pretty hard to do because I was so used to dodge backwards with my coward mentality. Thankfully, the previous attempts made me adapt to it pretty quickly. The final phase is signified by this AoE projectiles attack. Simply run away from it and use the chance to buff yourself. Same principle as the second phase, with the only difference being that you have to attack him until Gale finishes his combo. Just a little tip, usually Gale's combo consists of 3 attacks. Sometimes the combo only consists of 2 attacks. Here's an example. The first is a sword slam that followed by a jump attack, but I think you should always assume that the combos always consist of 3 attacks just to be safe. At the end of the fight, I realized that I kept the Sunlight Spear in the spell slot. The damage that it dealt was so small, I'm glad that I only used it at the end. Anyway, I finally beat Gale and finished him Nameless King style. Last time when I said that this build completely trivialized the game, I guess you can say that the same thing can be said for the DLC, though I was quite disappointed that stealth didn't work on some section of the DLC. For some reason, it worked tremendously well to counter the angels in the Dreg Heap, but not the Judicator part, not the Midir part, and also not the Snow Maze area. This is because those events are scripted to happen as soon as you enter its perimeter. I guess just to be the devil's advocate to defend from software, the wolves in the Snow Maze area can smell you, and both the Judicator and Midir has some sort of spiritual power to detect cowards from miles away. Anyway, this is a good build to skip the weakest aspect of Dark Souls 3, which is the world itself, to the best aspect of the game, which is the bosses. If you made it this far, thank you and see you in the next video. Goodbye.